Hi there, it's John McKeag with Royal LePage RCR at Alliston. Just wanted to take a moment to talk to you about wells servicing rural properties. Houses are serviced by many different types of wells or water sources. One that isn't a well, it's called a cistern, and that's found on older properties, Victorian or old farmhouses, and that's a holding tank. And the water wouldn't necessarily come from the property, it would be brought in by truck and placed in the holding tank on a regular basis, and that water would be primarily used for household use, but not necessarily for human consumption. There's things called sandpoint wells, and those are just, the water is just below the surface, so you have to have a high water table, and you usually dig it by hand and you put a pump in it, and it's enough water to service watering your gardens. It's a cheap way of getting water and relatively effective. There's also what I call ever-flowing or artesian well, and those again are very high water table areas. So I would, most often you see artesian wells over in the Dufferin County area, Melanchthon and Amaranth. Another type of well is bored or dug, and that's usually a shallow 25-foot deep in that proximity. And the way you can tell that it is a bored or dug well is it has a concrete or cement casement, and it's usually about 3 feet across and has a cement or a concrete lid on it. Then there's also a drilled well, and the way you can tell a drilled well, it's deeper, and it usually is 50, 75, 100, even upwards of 250 feet deep. And that's when the water table is lower, and they go that deep in order to get a good source of water. And the way you can tell it is a drilled well is it has a steel casement, which is a steel pipe with a steel cap on it, usually about a foot out of the ground. When you are purchasing or when you are having a well dug or purchasing a property that has a well on it, you want to have what's called a well record, and that's done at the time that the well is installed, and that's done by the well driller. They fill that out, and it basically tells who the installer was, when it was installed. It gives you the details on the well, how deep the well is, what kind of materials, soils that the well had to, they had to bore through in order to get to the source of the water, and it will also have the flow rate at the time that it was installed. Flow rate is very important because you want to make sure that you have proper flow rate to service your property. And the other thing that you want to make sure is you want to make sure that the water's treated. So you may have to have a supplemental treatment on your well, and that's to take any sediment or any impurities out of the water before it gets to you or your family. Water treatment is very important. It's become a huge issue because you want to make sure that you remove any bacteria such as E. coli, anything that would be harmful to human consumption. So as I said before, wells are a very important thing not to be overlooked on purchasing a property. Those are one of the first things that should be considered when you are addressing purchasing the property. You want to make sure that the property is well serviced. If you have any further questions about wells, feel free to give me a call. It's a fairly complex thing, and you want to make sure that you do have a qualified expert to address things. I can put you in touch with those experts at the time that you are putting in the offer or you're looking at the property. just to make sure that everything regarding wells is as it should be. My name is John McKeag. I'm a licensed real estate representative with Royal LePage. I've been licensed since 2000. Feel free to give me a call, 705-791-2221, if you are thinking about buying or selling. I'd certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Thanks very much for your time. I hope you find this information useful. Talk to you later. Bye for now.